We all have studied history in our course books. History of great men and their deeds. History of inventions and discoveries. History of geographical transformations and evolutions. We have also studied about conquerors, their conquest and the conquered. A very good evening, fellow Toastmasters and respected guests. With so much commotion going on in the world right now, nostalgia of the times gone by has claimed many of us. I am no such exception. Going down the memory lane, I would like to narrate an incident from one of my travel diaries. It was 2018. This overzealous and adventurous woman was on a wonder trip, cruising along the surreal and mystifying eastern coasts of Europe. The day our ship docked at Dubrovnik, Croatia, was the day France was playing against Croatia in FIFA World Cup. What a great day to be present in that country, soaking the national spirit of the game, embodied with caps and banners and over-enthusiastic conversations. I was completely oblivious what this great day held in store for me. For us, it was just a regular vacation day, visiting a new city, soaking in its culture, its atmosphere. Our tour guide, he took us around the city, narrating us all the stories, the rich stories of the city, making us introduced with the rich architecture. That was okay till then. Then we were taken to a forest where the shooting of the famous movie, God of Thrones, had taken place. My children were very elated, and seeing their happiness, our vacation was a pure success. Towards the later half of the day, we were taken to a place called Zupa Dubrovka. Now friends, that was a war site. The first war site I had ever visited. Croatia was engulfed in this war from 1991 to 1995. Slobodan Milošević was then the president of Serbia, and he was accused of 66 counts of genocides against humanity. That evening, I was standing at the crime site. The day had taken a very great turn for me. All the walls and the ruins of that place were speaking out so loudly. Seems the government and the older people were keeping all the ruins well intact for all the generations and for all the tourists to know what this city had gone through. It was 26 years before, but all the walls, the ruins were embodied with so many of gunshots that for a minute I shivered. I truly shivered looking at that ruins. I was told by our guide that hundreds of gunmen, they just came up from the city, and people who were there, they just started shooting. And within an hour, there were piles and piles of dead bodies all around. His narration was enough to move me very deeply. It was my fault maybe, but then I happened to ask him, how has this war impacted you? And down came the answer, ma'am, if a bullet doesn't kill a person in a war physically, it leaves them dead, mentally and emotionally forever. I have lost my entire family to this war. Do you know, I lost my father in that building you see? That was a big hotel. That was a 5-star hotel, which is now just in ruins. And we will never let anything build ever again there. We want the world to know what has been through us. That was over. Little bit more talks, that was over. What I concluded that we go through all those history books all the time. We are just aware of the dates and the events. What I felt that day, the concreteness of it, the depth of it, the realism, that has embedded in my mind very deeply that day. Maybe my first ever for a war site. Again, the same things are happening in the world right now. Now, maybe in today's time, social media, so many news channels, everything, They try to make the very experience of information become very alive, very close to us. But I am of a different opinion. I think we are bombarded with so many information, so many photographs, and biased opinions of one event that our mind is getting stunned into insensitivity, into sheer confusion. The kind of confusion you all must have seen with Krishna Pandit in the Kashmir files. We go through it. I have been through it. What I mean to say is, self-expression is extremely important, but not only self-expression. It has to be a mindful self-expression where you reflect your soul to yourself and then to the people around you whom you love. You may ask, what is self-expression? Why is it that important? For me, it is the very basis of any community which is looking for happiness and real growth. Not growth that you grow and some country is coming and bombarding you and again you are in war. 100 years, you do it and then you're again back by another 150 years. We all are watching it. What I want to reflect on is it should not be only self-expression in a way. It has to be very mindful. You have to be receptive towards your community. It should not be just a repetitive or reactionary engagement like we see all the time on Twitter and Instagram. The engagement has to be through minds which is attentive, which is reflective to the world around you in a more meaningful and responsive ways. So I leave you all, my fellow Toastmasters, with this insight that how well your self-expression is for yourself and to the community where you belong. Because on the bottom level, you all are part of the big wide world and we all are responsible for our thoughts. Thank you very much.